Okay, we've now moved on to part 2 of our debt management advice. We've sent the letters out, we've had nothing back, so where do we go from here? Well, one alternative is to use somebody like Nigel Wilkinson, who's with me today. So you have a debt recovery business, so why should I use you?
Mainly because we're a third party. We don't have any axe to grind one way or the other. We work on a no-fee, no-win basis, and I have to tell you that most debt collection companies will work on the same basis. So it won't cost you anything to use us if we don't actually collect your money in for you. But often we find that as an independent evaluated company such as ourselves by the Institute of Credit Management, we have a 97% success rate, independently organised by them. And therefore that happens for a number of reasons, not only that we're professional, but we're a third party. Again, these people are seeing someone different, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can actually talk from past experience here. I did use a debt management company, not yourselves. I would have done if I'd have known you then.
Absolutely.
But I used somebody else, and I can say that they are very good because they're actually standalone. I think when they look at your company, they think, oh, well, I can string them out a bit longer. But when they get a letter from someone like yourselves, they do tend to stand up and think, oh, yeah, I better get this out of the way because I don't want them on my back. It's another person ringing me up. Is that the experience that you have?
Very much so. First of all, we know what we're doing. We only do one thing. We collect debts. Therefore, we just keep on doing it. We don't get angry. We don't get upset. We just keep on going, and we constantly keep on at them until we get the money.
So, if we just go back to our previous video, we said we've got a £10,000 debt. What are you going to do? How would you do it so that you're not going to upset my customer? Because I suppose the other thing that I'm worried about is I've got my £10,000 order. I do want my money, of course I do, because it's a very important part of my business, but I don't want to upset my customer. I don't want someone hounding them and then the customer say, well, I'm not using you anymore. Is that something that I'd get from you, or how would you go about softening the hit?
Well, first of all, we take instructions specifically from you on what you wish. So, and one of the key questions we ask you at the beginning of the interview is whether or not you want to retain the customer. So if this is the 15th time that this person has been extremely late and you've had problems all on the line and you're not making any profit out of it, then maybe you'll have a different point of view to if this is the first time this customer has ever been late. How do we operate? Well, we operate in a similar basis to your own in-house system. We have a letter structure. I won't go into depth about how that works, but we have a letter structure, obviously more sophisticated than the one that we just outlined in the first video. We have a telephone procedure, and our personnel have monitors. They have specific questions to go through. The whole idea of what we're trying to do is to get paid. What we're not trying to do is upset the customer. As I said, we don't get upset, we don't get angry, we just keep going at them. And we make arrangements with them, we make dates for when they're going to pay, we get them to agree payment, and once we've got that, we then follow up before, at the time when they say they're going to pay, and afterwards if they don't. So we constantly hound these people to get the payment. If they stick to the agreement that they've made with us, then there'll be no issue. They pay us, we get paid, you get paid, and everyone's happy.
Just an interesting point here is that if, let's say, you're chasing a debt for me, and we know that the person that we're chasing is somebody that just doesn't pay the bill ever on time, because we do have, you must have a list of nuisance payers, shall we call them. Are you able to put some sort of, I suppose not the word blacklist, but a list on them for other people to see? Because you don't want to be dealing with them if they're not going to pay you, do you?
No. Well, first of all, because of the size of businesses such as ourselves, we do tend to be dealing with the same people over and over again for different clients. So you may be having a £10,000 debt with this particular person. We may have 3 other debts that we're chasing for other people, other clients. And therefore we can combine them all. And as you'll see on the next video, combining them and I suppose having a total that goes over a specific threshold means we can do certain things more with that particular customer than maybe would have been able to do had it been a smaller amount. But in terms of constantly going on at people who are serial defaulters, should I say, yes, there is a default list. Yes, we do apply to these particular companies, such as Experian, for instance, you'll probably come across. And because we can actually input ourselves directly into Experian, because that's we're a company that can do that, we can put on you as a defaulter straight onto that list. Now, you might not have had a county court judgment, you might not have been to court for anything, but you still will be on a default list, and that will affect your credit rating in the future.
Yeah, and I suppose what we've really touched on there is the fact that even before we deal with a customer, we really need to check the credit, don't we? Because if they're a good customer, hopefully we wouldn't need people like you. But unfortunately, the way the world is, you know, we do need people like you. We have a credit checking facility on the website. If anybody wants to use that, all you have to do is just text into a number with the company name and address, and we'll come back with a suggested credit limit, which is quite a handy tool to use. Okay, so that's great advice there, Nigel, on using a debt recovery company. We'll hear more about that in the third video. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.